The indie author revolution has been around for more than a decade, but we indies continue to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. From getting over initial prejudices to staring down perfectionism and author imposter syndrome, we've become a force to reckon with. Indie authors now wear more hats than ever as we strive to create a career full of meaning, prosperity, and potential. We've juggled the demands and continue to be rebels in the face of adversity. Now, after years of hearing the shouts of hustle and grind, we indies are rebelling again. Gone are the days of publishing a book a month until we drop, and in its place are the seeds of a better way to rapid release. A way that feels incredible as we build a sustainable, lifelong author career that not only increases our visibility and royalties, but it's all done with intention and ease. If you're ready to buck the system and become the visionary authorpreneur I know you're meant to be, you've come to the right place. I'm Carissa Andrews, international best-selling indie author, and this is the Author Revolution podcast. Well, hey there, my writerly friend. Welcome back to the Author Revolution podcast. I am thrilled that you have joined us this week because it's a fun one. We get to talk about series. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about, other than obviously manifestation and law of attraction and being magical, awesome, incredible co-creators of our reality. But this week, because we are getting so close to Preptober, I want to revisit this idea of, do you know what you want to write? Do you have an idea of what it is you're trying to create? Because as Preptober starts, you know what that means, right? It means NaNoWriMo is around the corner. And so if you're trying to create at least one book for NaNoWriMo, why not at the same time create a 4-book series? This is the whole goal, the whole concept that I teach in the 3-Day Plan Your Series Challenge, which, by the way, is going to be launching live and for free October 3rd through the 7th. And so, of course, this is kind of like a plug for it because I want you to be thinking about, okay, if you're going to spend time prepping for a single novel, what about a full series? Because you want to be able to create a sustainable, lifelong author career. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to spend some time prepping your novel for Nano, why not plan out the whole series so that you can create something that will sustain you beyond NaNoWriMo and you know what you're trying to get to? Because sometimes we often, especially at Nano, will plan out our book and then we write the book during Nano and then we don't do anything with it because we don't know where to go from there. Like, what is the next step? Like, how do we elevate beyond that? How do we write beyond that? And so if you plan for a series at this time during Preptober, it's the perfect time because now you've got all the energy backing your play for Nano, and it's going to help you catapult the series and get it off the ground. One of the things I want you to be thinking about as you are getting started, now whether you're going to join Preptober or not, whether you're going to hop into the free Plan Your Series Challenge or not, or whether you are just going to write a single book or eventually turn it into a series, I want you to think about, like, do you know what kind of series you want to write? We all know that having a series under our belt is one of the most beneficial things that we can do for our author career. And in part because it makes us more visible. A lot of readers, especially KU readers, like series because they like to immerse themselves in specific worlds and to understand the characters on a deeper level. And so you can make a lot more money that way. You can catapult your author platform in a broader sense using a series. But if you don't understand what types of series there are, you can kind of get yourself a little bit lost in the weeds because there's a lot of things to be, thinking about. You've got, all these things, the world building, the characters, how you're going to intertwine or maybe not intertwine the series story concepts. Like, how is it all going to play? And sometimes people get a little bit overwhelmed when they have more than one book to plan out. And so that's where my expertise comes in. That's where I love. Maybe it's the Virgo in me. It probably is. Where I love seeing all the data, right? Spreading all the data out and then finding out how it all connects together. What I do in the Plan Your Series Challenge is we talk about the 3 different types of series creation. And there are different types based off of how different teachers teach things, but this is how I teach. Like, there are 3 major archetypes when it comes to story structure for series. The first one being the never-ending series. And to me, what this looks like is a storyline that will continue to thread through the entire series. Like, there's going to be characters that cross over, there's going to be storylines that cross over. It's going to be intertwined, but not so planned out that you plan the entire never-ending series in advance. Like, you have room to play, you know what I mean? My Diana Hawthorne's Supernatural series is like this, where it's like each book builds on the ones before it, but I don't understand or even try to map out too far in advance. Like, I'll have a plan for the next 2 maybe, or the next 3, just so I kind of know where I'm going, but I don't necessarily have to get into the nitty-gritty details of it, right? But the thing to know here is that it can continue going on until I choose to end it. Like, I can just keep adding more to the storyline until it goes. It's like having, a Supernatural series going on, and each episode is a book. You can just, if you've got a Monster of the Week kind of thing, you just keep adding until you decide you no longer want to keep going. That's the sort of concept a never-ending series has. Now, the second series type is going to be the finite arc. It's kind of the opposite of the never-ending series, in that you obviously are going to plan out for a specific finite number of books. Maybe it's 4 books and then it ends. Maybe it's a trilogy. Maybe it's a duology. Maybe it's 9 books. Whatever the number is, you deliberately choose that number so that as you're creating the series, you know how each book is going to stand out. You know how each book is going to interconnect. You understand how each book is almost like a level up for the book before it, so that by the time the reader gets to the end of the series, their understanding of the world that you've just created, of the characters and everything that's in it, is so vastly different from when they first started that they're just so excited to start sharing it with others, because they're like, oh my gosh, just wait until you get to the end of this series. It's amazing. Now, my Windhaven books, for example, are more like that, where there was a finite number. There were 4 books planned. I knew exactly what was going to happen in each one of those books, and I knew how each character, how each storyline was going to level up because of it. That is a really powerful way to be able to do it, as long as you make sure that you are keeping things tight. Like, you understand how book 2 is going to be different from book 1, and you don't let the kind of cookie cutter template thing get in your way. You want to make sure that readers really feel like each book has its own vibe, its own kind of thing going on, right? Because that's going to keep them moving forward. And then finally is the Standalone series. Now, we're looking at those kind of like, I would say more like a Nancy Drew is a standalone series, where there's not really a whole lot that connects the series other than Nancy, right? Nancy kind of runs around, she does her thing, she's pretty cool, but you don't have to read, book 12 before you read book 32. You don't have to read book 1 before you read book 12. You can just kind of read it in and out of order, because it's all about the mystery of the week. It's the thing that goes on. And so you don't have to have like this in-depth storyline or subplot that runs through the whole thing, which I would actually say with a never-ending series or with a finite arc, you definitely want that, because people are in those series for the immersion of it. Where with a standalone, you can definitely do a lot of fun things. That is more like the monster of the week, and then it ends. Like, each storyline has its arc, it ends. The only thing connecting them is maybe one object. It could be a house. Like the house is the thing that connects them throughout the whole thing. It could be Nancy. It could be the Hardy Boys. It could be Fear Street. It could be, something along those lines, where there's obviously something that connects it as a series, but not necessarily needing to be read in any specific order. Hopefully that makes sense. What series type do you have, or are you considering working on? Because as you go forward, you're going to want to know how those things all interplay and how to create them efficiently and effectively so that the readers love what they're going to be getting from you. And now, like I said, we talked a little bit about the Plan Your Series Challenge coming back here in October for Preptober. So again, it starts October 3rd, it goes through the 7th, and each day we delve into different aspects of planning your series. We are going to conquer things like your mindset, because there are people who get overwhelmed trying to not only write one book, but to try to plan out a whole series. So yes, we are going to talk about mindset, because you know me, I can't not talk about mindset in a Plan Your Series Challenge. So we're going to do that. And we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. And we're going to talk about limiting beliefs and how to get over those as you're creating this series. Because if there's one thing I have seen over and over again derail authors' careers, it's that they don't believe they can. And I am going to put the kibosh on that. That is a lie, a lie, a lie. You can absolutely do this 100%, and I'm going to show you how. We're also going to talk about things like mind mapping and really getting all those thoughts in your head out onto the page, because we have ideas galore. We're authors. We see things. We extrapolate data, and we want to be able to play around with different concepts and like mix and match and do fun things and have some twists and create characters that are wonky and crazy and whatever the case might be. But how do you get all those things to jive in a storyline? Well, you do that by mind mapping and by planning it out and by putting it all on the page and figuring out what works best for your storyline. It's so, so important, and it's so helpful. And then, of course, we're going to dive into like the concepts of outlining. Like, are you going to do a skeletal outline? Are you going to do a series plan outline? Are you going to do your chapter by chapter synopsis so that you can continue to write even when things get crazy? And I will tell you right now that chapter by chapter synopsises have saved my ass numerous times. If you've been following this podcast for a while, you know that the only thing that saved Midlife Wolfpack was the chapter by chapter synopsis when the trees landed on my cars and we had to figure out the whole like insurance fiasco during that time frame. It was nuts. But I was still able to write and get the book done on time and out the door because of the fact that I knew in advance what it was I was trying to accomplish. Now that's the power of creating your worlds first. That's the power of understanding what type of series you're writing. That's the power of having those outlines created in advance. I know some of you are pantsers, or, maybe you're discovery planners. That's fine too. If you are someone who likes to uncover the storyline as you're going, what's really kind of interesting for me that I found, because I used to be a pantser, what I loved about that was the discovery process. But when you're creating like the chapter by chapter synopsis and really kind of thinking about like what's going to happen throughout this storyline and how they're going to connect, you're telling that story to yourself, but in a condensed way so that it concretizes in your brain. And by the time you start writing it, it's like, of course it's going to happen this way because I already planned it. Of course this is how this story unfolds. And it feels so good to know as you're writing it that it's all coming together and weaving together just the right way. It's so cool. And so I hope that you will consider joining us for this challenge. Like, it's just going to be so fun. I've launched this thing. I think this is the 4th time that I've launched it live and launched it for free for the indie author community, because I think when it comes to Preptober, authors need that encouragement. We need the community and the engagement for the prepping part because it can get so overwhelming and crazy. And so I hope you'll join it. All you have to do is head over to authorrevolution.org/plan your series. That's all one word, plan your series, to get signed up. And you'll start getting the emails and everything for, as the series begins and where it starts and how it's being delivered to you, because it's in a different platform than where it normally is if you purchase the Plan Your Series Challenge. And if you have the Plan Your Series Challenge and want to do it again and have the community engagement aspect of it, join again. Just have some fun with it. It's all about getting into that community of like-mindedness and the spirit of Preptober that is just so incredibly fun. I don't know what it is. Why do we love NaNoWriMo and Preptober? Of course we know why. It's because we're all doing the same thing. We're all struggling with the same struggles, and we are all enjoying the discovery process of our words and our worlds. It's just the most fun time of the year. I love this time of the year. And so as we get started with Preptober, you can join this Plan Your Series Challenge. We also have a live coaching call on Friday, the 7th of October. So if you get stuck, or if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I wish I had someone I could talk to about the things that I'm still trying to figure out, you can hop on this live Zoom call. Everybody's in the same room. We're all going to talk about our stuff. And so you can hop on the call with me and we will discuss anything that you need to be able to keep yourself moving forward with planning this series. If that sounds like fun, definitely join in because we are going to have an absolute blast. Now, I myself am in the middle of writing Ruins, So I don't have a series that I actually have to actively plan out, but it's because I've already done the work. I've already done the legwork of understanding the 2 series that I'm currently in the process of writing. So I've got my Never Ending series, which is Diana Hawthorne's, and then I've got my Finite Arc, which is the Accidental Alpha series. So after that one's done, I go switch back to Accidental Alpha, and I keep moving forward. But I've already planned all that stuff out. I already know what's coming. And it frees me up to be able to help you do more. It's just such a wonderful time. It's just going to be fantastic. So make sure that you do join if you are interested in getting that series going for Preptober. And beyond that, I hope that you are going to take on NaNoWriMo, because if you've never done it before, I cannot speak more highly of just the energy and the enthusiasm and the people who get involved with Nano and want to create their worlds and support one another. It's just, there is nothing like it. It is just such a fantastic time of year. And if you want to be able to prep for Nano, if you want help with understanding how NaNoWriMo works, any of those things, we can talk about all of that on that Friday as we are ending the challenge, because I love Nano. I started my career with NaNoWriMo with Pendamis. The very first time I created that book, the very first time I created any book, well, for the idea of eventually publishing anyway, it was through NaNoWriMo. And it was so fun. It was such a fun experience. And anytime I have the chance to write during Nano, I do. Now, of course, this National Novel Writing Month, I will be going to Vegas and participating in 20 Bucks Vegas. So that would put the kibosh on it anyway. But at the same time, I'll probably still be writing during most of November. All right, I want you to really think about what you want to accomplish as we go into this latter half of 2022. What amazing things can you create as you kind of shift into the last half of this year, and then thinking about the future you, what's going to happen in early 2022? What if you created your series? We sit down through Preptober, through this Plan Your Series challenge, we map out 4 books together. You get one of them done from Nano, and then you start writing book 2 right away in January, because you can. Because you can. Think about how amazing that's going to feel, right? I love that feeling, knowing I know exactly what the next thing is I have to write, and knowing when I can, because I know what my process is going to look like. I understand how the writing sprint is going to look. I understand exactly what it is I'm trying to accomplish. That is the power I am trying to express and trying to relate to you, not only through the challenge, but through everything that I do. We are in control and can co-create and create the reality that we're looking for. And we do it by deciding we can. We just make that decision and move forward confidently, knowing that it's ours. All right. If you would like to get the transcript for today's podcast episode, make sure you head over to authorrevolution.org/150. This was the 150th freaking podcast episode, guys. What a great time to do it too, with the Plan Your Series challenge. That's amazing. Okay, I'm rocking with that. I'm pretty happy about that. I didn't even realize it until I looked over at what number we're at. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yes, head over to authorrevolution.org/150 to download the transcript, or even to get the link to sign up for the Plan Your Series challenge, the free version where we are doing it live and launching it on my website. All right. Have fun, go forth, and start your author revolution.